وافانا بحسنه حيانا نور الهدى وافانا.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear viewers, welcome to Imam's Corner. Inshallah, in this lesson we will resume our tafseer of Surah number 78, Surah An-Naba, from verse number 20. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وسيرت الجبال فكانت سرابا. Translation: and the mountains shall be moved away from their places, and they will be as if they were in a mirage. Sadaqallahul Azim. My dear viewers, Alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah Almighty, in the last lesson we made mention that Allah Almighty has deputed Israfil to blow the trumpet. And in addition, we made mention that there is a set day and time where Allah Almighty is going to bring this world to an end. Now, the events that will take place, that collectively will announce the end of this world, have been made mention in the verses that we are discussing. وَفُتِحَتِ السَّمَاءُ فَكَانَتْ أَبْوَابًا, that the sky above us will open up. And then Allah Almighty makes mention that the mountains, they will lose their thiql, their weight, and they will be floating in the atmosphere. As I made mention last week, that we are going to make mention of 4 verses, and all 4 verses speak about the event of the mountains being uprooted. And once we study the 4 verses and we study the order of these 4 verses, we will get a better understanding. We will have a visualization of how the mountains are going to be uprooted and how they're going to be floating in the atmosphere. And keep in mind, the day of judgment, or the events that take place before the day of judgment, are events that should allow us to take life seriously. So we should make the right choices in life, and if we have made the wrong choices in life, then we should return back to our Lord, to Allah Almighty, ask Him to pardon us, and then place ourselves on the right path. So without taking much time, let's study the first verse pertaining to the mountains. The first verse is from Surah Muzammil, and this is Surah number 73, verse number 14. Allah Almighty says, يَوْمَ تَرْجُفُ الْأَرْضُ وَالْجِبَالِ, and the translation is, on the day when the earth and the mountains will be in violent shake. As we know that the mountains have been firmly established on earth, and throughout human history and the history that precedes us, the mountains have been standing in their position. The tornadoes, the earthquakes, and all the other tribulations that this world has faced and experienced could not move these mountains. So the mountains are firmly fixed in the earth. So for this event to take place, first of all, there's going to be a violent shake. And this violent shake will allow the mountains to feel loose, because they are fixed firmly into the ground. So Surah Muzammil basically gives us that understanding. يَوْمَ تَرْجُفُ الْأَرْضُ وَالْجِبَالِ. There's going to be a violent shake. So it's not going to go without an impact. That violent shake is going to allow the mountains to be a bit loose in their establishment. Then the second verse is from Surah Naml, and this is Surah number 27, verse number 88, in which Allah Almighty says, وَتَرَى الْجِبَالَ تَحْسَبُهَا جَامِدَةً وَهِيَ تَمُرُّ مَرَّ السَّحَابِ. And you will see the mountains and think them solid, but they shall pass away as the passing away of the clouds. Now this verse gives us an insight to the second stage of the journey of the mountains, that now they have loosened up and the mountains are basically in front of us. The mountain that was visible and the mountain that was not visible. The entire mountain now has become visible, and you can see it in the atmosphere, and it is moving like the clouds move. I would like you to visualize that there are thousands and thousands of mountains, small and big, and these mountains have left their establishment and they are in the atmosphere. The mountain that was hidden in the ground and the mountain that was visible, collectively they are floating in the atmosphere as clouds. Then Allah Almighty says in Surah Al-Qari'ah, Surah 101, verse number 5, وَتَكُونُ الْجِبَالُ كَالْعِهْنِ الْمَنْفُوشِ. And the mountains will be like carded wool. So we know the mountains to be huge, gigantic and mighty. And the mountains are known to be the personification of might, stature. But when these mountains are going to be uprooted, and you will see them as jamida, as a solid, it will lose its characteristic of being a personification of might. It will be like carded wool. It will be very light in the atmosphere. And then Allah Almighty says in Surah Al-Waqi'ah, Surah number 56, verse number 5, وَبُسَّتِ الْجِبَالُ بَسًّا فَكَانَتْ هَبَاءً مُنْبَثًّا. Subhanallah. And the mountains will be powdered to dust, so that they will become floating dust particles. So now you see them as a solid, but the more they move, you will see that the mountain is crumbling, and it crumbles to dust. And what you were seeing a few moments ago is no more. This is going to be the impact of the blow of the trumpet upon the mighty, mighty mountains. Allah Almighty protect humanity from being a part of that experience. I would like to make mention again so we can settle down and we don't fall into anxiety. لا تقوم الساعة إلا على شرار الناس. That the day of judgment, or that moment, horrific moment, is going to be experienced by the most wicked people. Now many of us will say that why does Allah Almighty speak about the events that are going to be announcing the end of this world? And I was reading, and in my study I came across a statement made by a contemporary scholar. And he said that it is human nature that when they are reading a book, they want to skip to the end to see how the book ends. And many a times we see that people watch a movie and the movie may be boring. So what they will do is they will fast forward to see how it ends. Meaning it is human nature to be inquisitive regarding the end of the story. So Allah Almighty knows how we operate and knows what interests us. So Allah Almighty addresses that human nature and informs us that this is how the dunya is going to end. This is how Allah Almighty is going to bring this domain to an end. So we will not be there inshallah, but we know how things are going to end. And not only end, but we know how they are going to restart after the end of this world. So this is وَسُيِّرَتِ الْجِبَالُ فَكَانَتْ سَرَابًا. Next verse, verse 21. إِنَّ جَهَنَّمَ كَانَتْ مِرْصَادًا. Truly hell is a place of ambush. Mirsada means ambush. Many a times people put a question to the ulama and they say that there are many verses in the Quran in which Allah Almighty speaks about hell and the different types of punishments that are going to be given to people in hell. And Allah Almighty, we know, is merciful. So why does Allah Almighty speak about hell? And why does Allah Almighty speak about the different punishments in hell? And why I make mention of this is because the next verses are going to explain and describe the different punishments that a person will be given in hellfire. So I would like to draw your attention to something, and this will allow you to settle down, and this will allow this question to be addressed. Basically, in mentioning hell in the glorious Quran and mentioning the different punishments is another dimension of Allah's mercy. It's another dimension of Allah's mercy. We may not see that mercy, but there is an aspect of raham in that. I'll give you a simple example. Let's say one person, he is not eating healthy. He is eating what he should not be eating. And he is eating without measure. He's eating in excess. So he goes to the doctor. The doctor says, go for a blood test. He goes for a blood test. The doctor calls him back to give him a report of his blood test. So the doctor says to him, look, brother, the way you are living right now and the way you are eating is not healthy for you. If you eat like this, you're going to have a heart attack. If you eat like this, your health is going to further deteriorate. You will have diabetes. You may have other sicknesses. So I am telling you from today onwards, this is what you should be eating. And this is how much you should be eating. So the doctor makes him aware of the harm of his diet. Now we stop there and we analyze. Indeed, what the doctor is sharing with his patient is not something that the patient wants to hear, because he's very comfortable with his diet. But an outsider will say that indeed the advice that the doctor is giving is bitter to the addressee, but in there is mercy. Because if the doctor doesn't share that advice with his patient, the patient will be in darkness. He will not know. And he will continue on that diet, and then eventually it will catch up. The harms will catch up. So the doctor is making him aware. In making him aware, there is a side of compassion. Likewise, Allah Almighty makes us aware and says that, look, don't take this bait. Don't do this. You may find attraction in it. And in nearly every sin there is attraction. That's why a person falls prey. There is some temptation, there is some ladhat, there is some ecstasy. But Allah Almighty knows the harm of it. Right now I eat so much that I can't even breathe. I enjoyed it, but it is going to catch up. The harm of it is going to catch up in a few days, in a few months. Allah Almighty does not want us to experience any harm right now, in hal, in the present, or in the mustaqbil, in the future. So what Allah Almighty gives to us in terms of lawful and unlawful, halal and haram, what is permissible, what is not permissible, is so comprehensive that if a person was to take it seriously, he will not find any harm to his human body, to his soul, in the present or in the future. There's an example that comes to my mind. This was not in my preparation, but some things that come to your mind when you're talking, it is believed that they come directly from Allah Almighty. There's a hypothetical example that people give, that scholars give, that there were two fish in the ocean. One fish was an educated fish. The other fish was new to the waters of the ocean. The educated fish said to the student fish that I'm going to share a lesson with you, and I want you to listen to this lesson attentively and take it seriously. Because if you take it seriously, it will be a life saver. And if you don't take it seriously, there's a probability you will harm yourself. So the student fish listens to the ustad, to the teacher fish attentively. The teacher fish says, one day you will be swimming in the ocean that is vast, and you will see this kind of fish that will be dangling, not swimming but dangling. And I'm telling you that it is attractive to you. You would like to take a bite into it, but don't bite it. Keep away from it. Have a huge distance. Don't go close to it, let alone bite upon it. So the student fish is very inquisitive and says, teacher, why? He says, behind that fish there's a hook. Behind that fish there's a hook. And I'm telling you, when you bite upon it, that hook will get you. So now the student fish says, doesn't make sense. Who placed a hook in the fish? And what is this hook going to do? So the teacher fish says that hook, once it gets you, you're going to be pulled up. You're going to try to resist, but it doesn't matter how much you resist, you will be pulled out of your ocean, of your waters, and you will be introduced to a new world. In that world, the first thing that you will see is people standing there. They are 6 feet tall. They have eyes and hands and arms, so on and so forth, a description of a human being. When they pull you out, they will be giggling and laughing. They will be looking at you. They will be measuring you. And they will be so happy that you took the hook. And they will be so happy that they pulled you out. Now they will have a board there, and they're going to place you on the board. Now the student fish says, what's going to happen then? And the teacher fish says, they will have a very sharp object in their hand, and they will cut you to pieces. Now he starts to sweat. He starts to tremble. They're going to cut you to pieces. But the story doesn't end there. Then they're going to put you into hot oil and fry you. And these gigantic people, they're going to have a set of teeth, and they're going to bite into you. Now this student fish, for him to understand what is being shared by the teacher fish is pretty hard, because he has not experienced this. He has not witnessed this. Let me pause there, and then we will return back to the story. You and me, you and me, we are people of faith. And our quality is sami'na wa ata'na. We listen and we obey. A non-believer, he looks and he obeys. If he can't see something, he doesn't believe in it. We listen to what Allah says. We listen to what Nabi Kareem Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, and then we accept. And that's why when we study Suratul Mulk, what does Allah Almighty say about those people that will be failures on the day of judgment, that will realize that they have failed? وَقَالُوا لَوْ كُنَّا نَسْمَعْ أَوْ نَعْقِلْ مَا كُنَّا فِي أَصْحَابِ السَّيْرِ. They will say that we did not listen. Humne baat suni nahi. We did not listen. And we did not use our intellect. And that's why we have ended up in an-nar, in the fire. So we need to listen. If our Prophet has given us a message, if a pious person has given us a message, if our parents have given us advice, don't say that I can't understand this because I don't see this. The more you find the ability to listen, the more you will succeed. Coming back to the story. So the student fish says, I can't understand this because I've never witnessed this. Now what will happen? He will take a bite, and basically that is bait. On the other side there's a person, he will pull this fish up, and everything that the teacher said will happen. But it will be too late. Now when the teacher fish was sharing this advice with the student fish, that the fish that takes this bait is going to be cut up into so many pieces and is going to be thrown into the oil, would you say that that teacher fish is not merciful? We will say yes, the teacher fish is merciful, because this is what is awaiting. The ball is in the court of the student fish to nasma', to say sami'na, I have heard, I have listened to what you have said, and I've taken it seriously. You have wisdom, you have sight, you have intellect, you have experience. I'm going to listen to you. And that's why many a times when youngsters fall into love, it is most important that you take advice from your parents. The parents say that I don't find this boy to be good for you. The parents say to the girl, we don't find this boy to be good for you. We don't find this girl to be good for you. Give weight to that statement. Don't brush it off. You are 20, 21, 22, 23. Your parents have brought you in this world and they have the experience. And that experience is greater than many volumes of books. I'm not saying don't marry, but take that into consideration before you make your final judgment. Because those that listen, they are the people that will succeed. Likewise, Allah Almighty, He speaks about the punishments. So we are aware, so we can make the certain adjustments in life to keep away from this. So we can keep away from this. Now Allah Almighty says, Inna Jahannama kanat mirsada. That verily the nar, the fire of hell, is in ambush. Now what does this mean? It's in ambush. I would like you to visualize. When humanity is standing, Allahumma mahfazna, Allah protect us. When humanity is standing on the day of judgment, and I say humanity, think about yourself. I think about myself, you think about yourself being in that place. Allah Almighty will allow the fire of hell to be brought forward. And the ahadith mubarakah indicate that the fire of hell will be chained up in 70,000 chains. And on each chain there are going to be 70,000 angels controlling the chain, by which they are controlling the movement of the fire of hell. And there's going to be a roar. The fire of hell is going to be angry. It has been burning for centuries. And now it is the time that it is going to be fed its fuel. And it has been said that the fire of hell will recognize its inmates. It will recognize those that are deserving to be thrown into it. Allah Almighty protect us that we are to be thrown into an-nar. Then the scholars say that there's going to be a bridge that is going to be placed over the fire. And around that bridge there's going to be guardian angels. And there's going to be angels that are deputed to make the journey of the inmates of paradise comfortable over the bridge. And then there are going to be guardian angels that are going to be deputed to make the journey of the inmates of hell that much uncomfortable. And as we know, many people will cross, Allahumma ja'alna minhum, and there will be many people that will not be able to cross and they will fall into the fire of hell. And the angels at that time, they will see which people have the ticket of paradise and which people don't have the ticket of paradise. So right before we enter onto that bridge, there are going to be angels there. And this is the meaning that an-nar, Jahannam, is going to be in ambush. Keep in mind, Allah has created you and me and every human being not to punish us. Not to punish us. We bring the punishment upon ourselves. Live a pure life. Live a clean life. And the purest and the cleanest life is the life that Allah Almighty has chosen for us. The most productive and constructive life. Who said you can't enjoy life? You know, a lot of people say we are young, we want to enjoy. Enjoy. But there's limitations to enjoyment. Keep yourself in those limits. Think about it, if Allah Almighty sent us with carnal desires and said that you need to suppress your carnal desires and you're not allowed to marry, then we will say, oh, that is very, very hard. Allah gives us carnal desires, but then He opens the door of marriage, nikah. Allah gives us hunger, and if Allah said, right, I'm going to give you hunger and thirst, but you're not allowed to eat and drink, then we could question. But Allah Almighty has given us ample things to eat and ample things to drink. Amongst all things that are eaten, there are certain things that we are not allowed to eat, but there are many things that we can eat. So if we were to study the package that Allah Almighty has given to us through Nabi Kareem Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam carefully, we will find there's a lot of mercy in that. There's a lot of accommodation to the needs of a human being. Enjoy, but do not cross the boundaries. Now, the next verse. لِلطَّاغِينَ مَآبًا, a dwelling place for the Taghoon. Taghin is a word that basically represents rebellious. Who are rebellious? Rebellious are those people, Allah protect us, that we do not become taghin. Rebellious are those people that deny Allah. Or taghin are those people that ascribe partners with Allah. Or taghin are those people, and I would like you to listen to this third one, that believe in Allah but do not follow what Allah wants from them. They are all taghin. but of different levels. The greatest level of rebellion is to deny Him. The second level is to ascribe partners to Him. And the third level is to believe in Him, but not to respect Him. So there are many, many believers that fall in the third category. There are many, many that fall in the third category. That they accept Allah, but they don't want to live the life that Allah demands from them. It is just like a child who says, Father, you are my father. I know that you took care of me. I can remember that you used to buy this and this and this for me. You provided shelter for me. You provided education for me. You took care of me. And let me say to you, Father, I love you. Fine, that's a very strong statement. One day the father is sitting on the couch and he says, Son, I'm not feeling well. I'm not feeling well. So can you fix a cup of tea for me? And the child says, do it yourself. Do it yourself. So the father will say, a few days ago, you made mention of all the good that I have done. You appreciated that. And you said you love me. If you truly love me, then you should go and fix a cup of tea for me. He says, I love you, but I'm not going to do this. Now, an outsider will say that this statement of love is very, very shallow. We call it lip service. We know Allah created us. We know that all the bounties that, and we acknowledge this, all the bounties that we enjoy on a daily basis are given by Him, come directly from His depositories. But when Allah Almighty says, do you love me? We say, yes, Ya Allah, we love you. La ilaha illallah. We love you. La mahbooba illallah. Our true love is for you. Now Allah Almighty says, all right, come and do this. We say, we're not going to do this. So that means we are fake in our statement. We are very shallow in our statement. What will the father do to this child? What will the father do? He'll be so disappointed. But let's look at the positive. If the child makes a cup of tea, how much pleasure that gives to the father. What will it take for you and me to turn our life around? What will it take? It won't take much. We have great power inside, willpower. Make intention today that I'm going to turn my life around. And I'm going to try to please Allah Almighty. If Allah Almighty says, wake up, I'm going to wake up. If Allah Almighty says, go to sleep, I'm going to go to sleep. If Allah Almighty says, make sajda now, I'm going to make the sajda. Make it your primary goal in life to please Him. And let me tell you, you please Him, He will please you. Because those that are not pleasing Him, He's pleasing them as well. There are many in the world that are not pleasing Him. Still, He gives to them. How will He let those people go by who try to please Him? We have run out of time. We will study this topic, inshallah, in the next lesson. A recap of what we have studied. We started from verse number 20, where Allah Almighty says, وَسُيِّرَتِ الْجِبَالُ فَكَانَتْ سَرَابًا. Spoke about the mountains. We made mention of 4 verses, and basically, collectively, what we understood is that the mountains will be uprooted. Then you will see the entire mountain in the atmosphere, and then they will start to move like clouds, and then slowly and gradually they will be powdered into dust particles. And the mountains that are known for their might, their stature, will crumble and finish. That is the impact of the blow of the trumpet. Then we made mention of the Inna Jahannama kanat mirsada, that the fire of hell is going to be in ambush. And what we made mention under this is that Allah Almighty makes mention of Jahannam, the punishments, and this is a mercy. Allah Almighty is making us aware of that which is going to be disastrous for a human being. So it is up to us to take that information seriously and try to avoid all that. try to abstain from being amongst those people that will be tortured. We gave the example of the teacher fish and the student fish. Keep that in mind, share it with your family members, with your friends. And then the last verse that we spoke about is لِلطَّاغِينَ مَآبًا, that this is going to be an abode for the taghin, for the rebellious. We made mention that in essence there are different levels of rebellion: those that deny Allah, those that accept Allah but ascribe partners with Him, and those that accept Allah but do not live a life according to what He demands from them. Allah Almighty protect us from all levels of rebellion. Allah Almighty make us from those that are truly qaniteen, that are obedient to Allah Almighty. Allah Rabbul Izzat grant myself and all those that are listening hidayah and the best in this life and the best in the life to come. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
الهدى وفانا بحسنه حيانا نور